Hello, welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we are going over a picture that I have hanging on my wall that you see in every Tune Tuesday and some Theory Thursdays, depending on the angle of the camera. And that's this picture right here. Okay? Who is this guy? What's going on behind him? Where was this taken and what's the story behind it? Why do I have it hanging on my wall? Okay, that's what we're talking about today. It's going to be more of a story than any music theory, but it's one that I really like. So that's what we're talking about today. I have my Timex Easy Reader on, and I have my new red tie. So that's all linked in the description, as you always know. If you've been enjoying these, the stories, the theory, the tunes, please like and subscribe. Oh, my nose itches. And if you hit that little bell icon, it'll keep you notified on when new videos come out. But as you know, it's every Tuesday and Thursday, every week. So without further ado, let's talk about this picture. Let's go. Okay, so today will be a conversation more than anything. We're talking about the portrait in my office that you see in almost all my videos, especially the tune ones, because you can see it on the wall there. And there's a fantastic story behind it, okay? And I pulled it down for the intro, but I have a picture of it, and I'll put it up right now. So this is the portrait of John Lee Hooker. And this is from 1951. Okay, so let's talk about John Lee Hooker for a second. And I got my notes because there's a lot of stuff here. But first of all, I want to credit musicinarchives.org. Most of the information I have here and the quotes come straight from musicinarchive.org because that's actually where the picture was taken, at Music Inn in Massachusetts. So, musicinarchives.org has all the information on this if you want to read up further on it, because there's a lot of stuff I'm not even going to talk about here just because there's so much. It's great. So the portrait here is of a guitarist, John Lee Hooker, and he was a blues singer and guitarist, American blues singer and guitarist. And he was alive from, and this is actually debated, 1917 to 2001. What's debated is his birth year. So some reports say 1912, 1915, 1917, 1920, and 1923. Okay, 5 different dates. However, most commonly accepted is 1917, so that's what we're going to go with here. He was the son of a sharecropper. He rose to fame when he pulled out his electric guitar and made an adaptation of the Delta blues that he created in Detroit. Now, Delta blues was a style of blues that incorporated guitar and harmonica. And I learned a lot about the blues here because I didn't even know there were so many different types of blues. He incorporated a bunch of different styles within his own playing, notably the talking blues and the hill country blues from North Mississippi. Tons of accolades in 2015, long after he passed. Rolling Stone did a story on the top 100 guitarists. They ranked them, and they ranked him at number 35. So top 50, that was pretty exciting to see. He's in the Blues Hall of Fame, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's got a ton of other awards, including some Grammys. So that's the guy in the picture, John Lee Hooker, okay? Now, the picture is taken at a place called the Music Inn, and what they were doing was they were hosting an event called the Round Table. Now, this was 1951, and what happened was the owners, which were the Barbers, had one of the pretty much the first inquiry into the origins of jazz. How did it come about? And, or what are the roots of it? And it's one of the first, this was 1951, because at the time, jazz music was still looked down upon by serious musicians, music lovers. I mean, nowadays you can go to college for a jazz degree, right? Jazz studies, jazz history. At the time, it was the pop music of the time, right? It was dancing music. I mean, it wasn't Bach, it wasn't Beethoven, right? And I mean, look how far it's come. I mean, now in today's age, it's, I mean, for lack of a better word, people think of it as intellectual music, and that is definitely not how it started. I mean, it was pop music. That's all it was. So the Barbers here, they owned the inn, and they started this event called the Round Table, and at first it was called the Folk and Jazz Round Table, and they invited African American musicians, because that was the people that played the music, to come stay with them. And it tested the social standard at the time, 1951. And here's a quote from Stephanie Barber, one of the owners. African Americans were not too popular in New England. I remember in the early days having trouble finding beds in local inns for artists who happened to be black when we were overflowed our own capacity. People in the village did not approve of what we were doing, but in good New England fashion, they believed we had the right to do it. So, struggled in the early days. Obviously, this helped out. And in the picture, I'll put it up again here, you can see that John Lee Hooker is sitting in front of a chalkboard. And what they're trying to do is actually find the origin of the blues here. And it's just a fascinating depiction of what their genres were at the time, and roots of all these different genres that, I mean, nowadays we can classify things as jazz, and then there's so many subgenres of jazz, and the blues, and but to actually try to find out what the origins of it all were, I mean, it was no simple task. And I don't know, I just like the idea of so many great minds. I mean, it was the people that was actually playing the music, right? Boots on the ground, bettering themselves. I mean, learning for themselves. What's the history of this? What's the significance of it? And what's the origin of it, so that we can better understand it and progress forward with it, right? So, as far as other musicians who went to the round tables, the list is very long, with a lot of legends going. One story that caught my eye, I thought was kind of cool. Dave Brubeck, which I'm sure most of you know from Take 5, one of the most popular jazz albums of all time, and the title track, Take 5, obviously being one of the most popular jazz tunes of all time. So he was there, not at the 50, well, maybe the 51 one, but Dave Brubeck recalls the time Dr. Willis James, who was an authority on African American field hollers, demonstrated a field holler in 5/4 time. Now here's a quote. He said that the Dave Brubeck Quartet was on the right track, says Brubeck. He said, it provided them a crucial endorsement at a time when rhythmic innovations were controversial. Brubeck then went on to say, that was a big moment of glory. He explained that if you go back to field hollers, that they go back to Africa, and why shouldn't I be doing what I'm doing? That it was the tradition of Africa to play in complicated time signatures. It didn't hurt at all to have him defend me in public. Now that's Dave Brubeck, and as you know now, would go on to achieve fame and notoriety, and many awards and accolades, and continued to write in odd time signatures. So that was the vibe, for lack of a better word, around the event. It was just musicians getting together, talking with each other about their music. And when I say their music, I mean, yes, originals, right? What were the music they were writing, but their music, right? Jazz music, jazz musicians playing their music, right? This is ours. They claimed it. Now, what's the origin of it? So what can we do with it, right? How do we go forward with it? So that was the event, and I just really like the portrait just because of the history behind it. John Lee Hooker was a great guitarist, and I just like the whole idea behind the event. So anyway, if you want to learn more about it, you can go to musicinarchives.org, and they have tons of stories and tons of history behind the whole thing. So yeah, I know it was theory around the genre, I guess you could say today, less music theory, but still, it's a story that I really love, and I love it so much I have it hanging on my wall. So yeah, hopefully you learned something, hopefully you enjoyed the story, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.